Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Blue028 and today we're going to be taking a deep look at the force feedback on Forza 6 Apex. We're going to be driving this 370Z around Brands Hatch and just looking at the telemetry data just so we can get the best idea possible of what the force feedback should be doing, and with my setup we'll be able to actually see what sort of force is being applied to the wheel as I'm driving. First things first, we're going to be running simulation steering just because other steering modes might interfere with our inputs. And the second thing is we're turning off all the fake force feedback, so there's no center spring, no damper and no vibration, because we don't want fake forces coming through the wheel. We just want the raw force feedback that should be getting calculated from the physics. Got the ampermeter set up, we'll be able to actually see what the force feedback is doing. G-force gauge in the right hand bottom corner, and obviously my wheel set up on the left hand side there. We're just going to warm up the front tyres just to make sure they're up to temperature, and we're just going to take it nice and easy around this first lap, and you'll be able to see from the ampermeter as we turn into a corner and the load is applied on the tyre, you can see the force start coming up. Generally it sort of peaks around the mid corner and fluctuate a little bit, and then it will ease off back to zero, which is what we'd expect. So this first lap should be pretty good. You're not going to see any real anomalies. You can see nice steady forces through the corners, and then it eases off as we come out. Just dipping onto the grass here, you can see I'm getting a little bit of force as the front right wheel is dragging through the grass. Now coming up to the second lap now, we're going to start pushing the car a little bit harder, so really putting the car on the limit and sort of pushing it a bit over. Come a bit hot into this corner, but you can see as the tyres exceed past 100% friction, the force feedback almost completely disappears. And why this is a problem? Well, as you can see by the G-force meter, there is still a lot of load being applied on the tyres. The car is still pulling about a G or just under a G of cornering force, and there's no feedback of that coming through the steering wheel at all once we step over the grip threshold of the front tyres, which is very unrealistic, because even though the tyres might be sliding over the road, it's not like it's sliding on ice. There's still going to be some sort of force being applied through that tyre and translating through to the steering wheel. And it just causes what I like to call the seesaw effect. As you're pushing the car on the limit, sort of step over the line, the force feedback disappears and you bring the steering back a little bit, and then the force just comes back on full force, and you really do get this seesaw feeling on the wheel as you're trying to turn, where there's just force on off, and it is really, it's not pleasant to say the least. And you can see by the G meter, our G forces are pretty consistent through the turn. They fluctuate a little bit, but if we step over the threshold of grip on the front tyres and they start sort of scrubbing on the tarmac, then we just lose all force, which is not good. Now we're going to start throwing the car around a little bit. You see here I'm just getting no force whatsoever. There's no information coming through the wheel until the front left wheel just touched the rumble strip, and for some reason the rumble strip gives me more feedback than the tarmac on the road, which is really stupid. As you can see, there's huge amounts of force being applied on the tyres, and the force feedback is just kind of all over the place. It doesn't really know what it's doing, which is, when, especially online, if you get a bump and the car goes a bit sideways, this is where you need the force feedback to really be able to control the car. And this is where the force feedback just completely falls apart, because you can't feel what you're supposed to do. No force, a little bit of force. There was almost nothing through that whole corner, and we were pulling almost the G of cornering force, even though we're sideways. There was a lot of load on those tyres. And there's another problem too, as you've got no force coming through the corner as you're countering a slide. As you're sort of coming out of the slide, you're not really 100% sure where the wheel needs to be, and as the wheels start straightening up, the force all of a sudden kicks in and wants you to overcorrect, and it causes a lot of spin outs just because you're guessing where to turn, and then when the force comes back, it's really trying to force the wheel where it should be starting to come back to center. And now we're going to do a quick comparison with Assetto Corsa, and you're going to see how much more accurate the force feedback is in this game. You just notice there's a lot more lower end forces that come through the wheel, which is something that Forza lacks as well. Is when you're driving down the straight, there's no real feel on the road at all. There's literally only feel when the tyres start to get pretty heavily loaded. But you'll also see, even when completely understeering, there's still some sort of centering force on the wheel to try and bring it back to where it's supposed to be. And overall, the wheel just, in the Assetto Corsa, just feels 100% connected with the car, and it makes it a really, really enjoyable experience to drive. I'm looking forward to the Forza 7 demo so I can run similar tests to see if they've actually improved the force feedback, or if it still needs work. So if you want to see that video, it'll be up on my channel as soon as I can get my hands on the demo and get some recording done. But I'm really hoping they've got it a lot closer to what you get in the Assetto Corsa. Well, that's going to wrap up the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more content. I'm just going to leave you with some of this gameplay of Assetto Corsa, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.